If the man tests you, you have to leave. Point blank, period. If a man loves to test you, he is not the one for you. All right? So I had this thought today as I was showering, and I was reminded by the time I was in the depths of my misery with my romantic partner, my ex-relationship. I noticed a pattern with him and other men that I find extremely, extremely toxic, all right? Like, I'm talking villainous behavior. When your partner, or in this case a man, tests you to set you up to fail and then get mad at you later. I'm gonna break it down really easily. I know that's a little bit nebulous, but what does that mean? All right, I'm gonna tell you what happened in my experience, where I literally was told that I was being tested, and then later punished for not passing the test. So even talking about it makes me want to like punch a wall. I don't know, like I would consider myself a peaceful person, but this kind of behavior, this kind of manipulative, toxic behavior is so unacceptable. So let me set the stage for you, yeah? My ex-partner is Ukrainian, and as we know, the war between Russia and Ukraine has been broiling for quite some time now, but it broke out very poorly, very officially in February, I believe it was February 24th, 2022, all right? Just a little bit of backstory. Him and I had been together at this point for just over 2 years. We were really serious. I was 22, he was 28. A very long, deep, intense relationship, right? So this war breaks out, and I'm not going to go into that because that's a story for another time. But essentially, when it broke out, this man would watch footage of his people, Ukrainian people, being unjustly slaughtered and murdered. So he was watching the news, glued to his phone, to his computer screen, the moment the war broke out. I understand that. I can't even imagine what it would be like to have a war break out in my homeland. And if you know Ukrainian people, they're very, very proud to be Ukrainian. And this man was especially proud to be Ukrainian. He brought it up like every 5 minutes. So, side tangent. Basically, the war broke out. He had completely shifted as a person. Like, it obviously was extremely traumatic, took a huge toll on him, and occupied a lot of his mental space. So the week he found out the news, which I actually told him, I told him to check his phone, and I asked if his family was okay, and he didn't know what was going on. And then he was watching the news. That weekend I had to leave to go back to college. So it was our last weekend together. I was just trying to be like quiet and firm and loving support for him. He didn't like to talk about his emotions, another warning sign there. But essentially, you know, the day I left, it was like pretty somber. We were staying together, and I just very calmly suggested, you know, maybe you should read about what's happening in Ukraine and Russia and read about it instead of watching it, because it was extremely horrific. I was in the room with him, sitting down for hours, listening to the sounds of war. I didn't want to watch because I'm pretty sensitive, but he was watching it, and he was putting himself mentally and physically in this space. So anyways, he did not take kindly to that. He got super upset. He started like, you know, throwing a fit, saying, I'm safe here, and how can I say that while people are dying, and blah, blah, blah. And he just got like very upset, very unwell. And so I took a step back mentally and emotionally after that point. I went to school. I was focusing on homework and assignments and tests and projects and whatnot. But anyways, we were long distance. So from that point on, he started volunteering and packing food and supplies and going to protests every single day for like, I want to say 4 months. And I was a student, and I knew there was a protest going on my campus, so I attended the protest in support of Ukraine, had a little Trident t-shirt, I donated to the vendors there, I did what I could. My brother and my dad marched with him on, I think, 2 different protests. My mom was injured, so she couldn't come, but she definitely would have been there, and she would have been packing the supplies and everything. We were the most supportive, let me tell you. And then, here's where the test comes in, so that's all the backstory, and this is where the real juice comes. So, I come back, right? I'm in Davidson, North Carolina, I'm studying, I'm doing whatever, and then there's a weekend where I'm able to fly home. So, I do just that. I fly home, I take like a late night, Thursday night flight, leave Sunday because I only have the weekend. And anyways, we just have a regular weekend. We have some lunches, some dinners, some dates. Obviously, he's still dealing and processing with a lot. So, he was going through it. I was trying to give him his space because that's what he wanted. It was very difficult for me because I love hard. I want to wrap people in my little shell and keep them there and protect them and help and everything. So it was a definitely learning curve for me to understand and realize, like, that's not what he needs, that's not what he wants, so take a step back. So I did. I was really just quiet, just trying to be quiet and support him in the way that he wanted, right? So anyways, I go back, I fly back Davidson. I thought the weekend was okay given the circumstances, but then we got into a fight a few weeks later, and I don't remember what the fight was. I can tell you it was nothing related to Ukraine and the war and his whatever engagement with supporting his people and his country. It had nothing to do with that. But the thing with toxic people is they love to keep tabs on things till later. It's like arsenal. They keep it in their back pocket, and then when you least expect it, they throw it on you, and they're like, hey, well, you did this, remember? Or you said that. And you're like, damn, I wish you told me in the moment so we could have addressed it and it doesn't add to what we're trying to solve, which is completely unrelated. So this is how the argument went, yeah? I need to center myself. All right, so this was one of those arguments. And what did he bring up? What did he cite as supporting evidence to his claim of whatever we were arguing about? He goes, I purposefully didn't tell you that there was a march the weekend you came, and I was waiting for you to bring it up to see if we could go together, and you don't care because you didn't go and you didn't bring it up. Excuse me? I was floored. I was like, I didn't know there was a march in Chicago. Like, I was home for 4 days, like 3 nights and like 3.5 days or 4 full days. I was like, I would have loved to support you and go with you had I known that there was a march. And he was like, no, everyone was posting about it. I know you saw it on their stories because I followed his friends. And he was like, and I had brought it up a few weeks earlier and you didn't remember and you didn't go. This is one of many, many, many examples of him testing me. It's infuriating. And let me tell you, if this happens once, it's gonna happen again. Because I have so many other memories and situations like this that I don't even want to begin to get into because it's a lot. This one stands out in my mind because it's a pretty devastating example, given that he expressed he didn't want me to talk about it or bring it up or do anything really. He showed no reaction when I went to the protest in Davidson without him on my own time. And trust me when I say, if this man had told me when he mentioned it a few weeks earlier, hey, there's a protest, it's actually falling on the weekend you're in town, I would love to go. It would mean a lot to me if you came with me. No, nothing like that was said. At most, if he did bring it up, which he was also a pathological liar, so I don't know if he actually did bring it up before, it was probably like, yeah, there's a protest this week, and this week. Point, end of sentence, period. Okay? So, there was nothing that indicated to me that he was inviting me or wanted me to go. So when a man tests you, coupled with lack of communication, it will set you up to fail time and time again, and they will use that against you, and they will make you pay for it. They'll punish you with like the cold shoulder or the silent treatment or stonewalling, and you will be made to be the villain in the story, right? He's the one who's going through the war, right? I'm not. I don't have that baggage. I don't have that trauma. So in his perspective, the way that he framed it, I was the insincere, unthoughtful girlfriend that couldn't give two flying craps about his war in his country because I didn't tell him we should go to the protest together when I visited a weekend out of college. Yeah. I know it's so difficult to hear this if you're in a similar situation. Believe me, I was there. If you find yourself Googling, am I with a narcissist? Should I leave? 10 signs you should stay with your partner. Signs that your relationship is over. If you're up late at night Googling those things, just know it's already over. And I hate to deliver that news because I turned a blind eye so many times on these kinds of behaviors because I loved him and I wanted to work it out and I thought things would change, and I was always told that things would change and he would do better and break these patterns and be whatever, calmer, more understanding, more communicative, more loving, more consistent, la 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 la. No, it's not going to change. And honestly, if someone does this one time, the fact that this happened multiple times with me is a different issue for another day. One time a man tests you like this, it's over. It's over. I was watching a TikTok yesterday of a woman who was explaining all the things she did for her husband's birthday or boyfriend's birthday. You know, got him a massage, got him a cake the night before, got him all the restaurant reservations, spent like over $1,000 on this man's birthday. And because she didn't get him a second cake, like there was a party the night before his birthday, and he didn't have a cake on his actual birthday, he threw a hissy fit, made sure she canceled all the reservations, pouted the entire day, and made her feel like absolute crap on his birthday. They can get away with hurting you while looking like the good guy or looking like the victim, because he was the victim in that scenario. He mentally believed he was the victim. I was the perpetrator. And if anyone knows me, like hopefully it comes across on this channel, but also in person, you know that the biggest fear or the most pain that I have in my life is when I hurt other people. Like, I cannot live with myself if I know that some action or some word has offended somebody. And he knew that too. He knew that I hated hurting people. So anytime he could pose as a hurt victim of my behavior or actions, he did. Leave your man if he does this. It's not going to get better. It's not okay if it happens even one time. Leave him, and never turn back. Never turn back. I wish I heard that. All right, a lot of these articles that I was analyzing and going through, they don't get into that. They don't bluntly tell you you need to leave. They say, you know, weigh your options. Like, we know things are complicated and maybe they can change and la 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 la. Because we're in a society that supports men and sets up systems where they can act like this and get away with it. I'm gonna be the harsh, tough love older sister here when I tell you leave. Anyways, I hope this example helps you in some way. It's not really easy to talk about. Clearly, I'm like enraged now. But I hope that hearing this will put things in perspective for you if you're in this situation. If you are, I know I was tough and I know it was intense a few seconds ago. Just follow it up with, I am really sorry that you are going through this. I have been there. I know how soul-crushing it is, and I believe that you have the strength and the power to do better than that man. You will do better. You will do a lot better. He's not worth your time, and he's not worth your pain or your energy or your happiness. He doesn't deserve you at your worst or your best if he's acting like a toe. And that's toenail, crusty, dusty behavior. That's unacceptable and should not be tolerated. And the traffic cleared up and I don't want to crash the car. So I love you and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.